What's going on, good people? Hey, man. All right, man. Hold on. All right, here we go. Here we go, man. What's going on, good people? Rich here. Hey, shout out
Bug
to
in the
Ray
building,
P.
baby.
Nah, fuck all that. You don't get your own intro. I bring you in. I bring you in. Shout out to Ray P. Shout out to School. Back for another episode of the Culture Garden Podcast. As you can hear, we have a guest. Surprisingly, I was doing some math in my head, and I'm like, dang, Bug ain't been on since Shaft.
That's wild.
That is wild. Like, that is wild. We've recorded together since because co-host the best episode ever, which will be coming very, very soon. We did Entourage along with Spike Lee. But Chaz, El Boogie Tao, is joining me for this week's episode. Shout out to Chaz, man. What's going on, brother? Now you can proceed. That's how it's done, Chaz. But now, how you feeling, brother?
Man, life's great, man. Other than the minus the bills and the bullshit, life couldn't be better, man.
I feel that, man. I'm not mad at you on that, man. Appreciate you joining me this week. Very, very timely episode of the Culture Garden Podcast with the film that we're discussing. We'll get into it when I talk about why we discussed this movie to begin with. But I believe this is episode 116, which is kind of wild, I believe. So, yeah, we're moving right along. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, rocking with us. Please remember to like, subscribe, share. You are the reason we keep coming back every week, so thank you. I was on an episode of Childish Grown Ups. Shout out to Lil Cuz and them. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did the movie Three Ninjas. And that's one of my favorite childhood films. Shout out to Mo, shout out to Ash, shout out to Mia. Mia wasn't on the episode, but the three of us, me, Mo, and Ash, had a good conversation. Fun conversation about Three Ninjas. So go check them out, Childish Grown Ups. Also, Culture Garden's got a film club. We just kind of started it out. We haven't done any episodes or kind of meetings yet. But a film club, think of a book club, but for film. Just have a space to talk about new releases, things like that. Chaz and myself were just recently talking about The Accountant 2, which came out last weekend and is actually a really good movie. If you haven't seen The Accountant, it's streaming on Max now. And The Accountant 2 was definitely worth the watch in the theaters. What did we call it? We called it unintentional comedy. Just a lot of unintentional comedy, things like that, which you wouldn't expect. It's almost like if Jason Bourne was a comedy, in a sense. In a sense.
Yeah, no, you kind of right with that.
Yeah, in a sense, man. Yeah. So check that out. But the Culture Garden Film Club, if you're interested, hit us up, DM us, email us at theculturegardenpodcast.com culturegardenpodcast@gmail.com. I'm tripping. And let us know if you're interested in that. We'll try to meet once, maybe twice a month virtually. Talk about some new releases, talk about some other films, and really cater it to all of our likes. So check us out there. And there will be spoilers and explicit content for this film. It came out in 1996, so it is what it is. And today's film is going to be The Great White Hype. If you haven't heard of this film or watched this film, you are in for a treat. I promise you that. The synopsis of the film: the boxing champ's promoter. Hold on, I'm tripping. Before I move any further, shout out everybody I did not shout out. We Got Y'all television podcast, currently covering Raising Kanan. It's not fresh on my mind because there was a week off. Raising Kanan did not release an episode this past week, but they will have one this Friday, and we will be covering it and have it out this Saturday. So
how'd you feel about that?
Not having an episode, that's a power move. They do that. They do that every single year. Usually between 7 and 8 or 8 and 9.
I don't know why they have it so late.
Instead of like a mid-season.
Yeah, because they only have 8 to 10 episodes typically in a season.
Yeah, it's 10 episodes, so there's 3 left.
Yeah, so why have it so late?
I don't know, but I guess I wasn't shocked because Power's been doing that since the original Power.
Yeah.
Shout out to James St. Patrick, man, one of the funniest TV characters of all time. But yeah, shout out to We Got Y'all television podcast. And also shout out to y'all. I meant to say we did not have an episode last week. Schedule has been hectic. On top of me being in Vegas last week, which was a crazy time in general. So my apologies for not putting anything out, but we back in full force. Won't have any misses for quite some time. But a synopsis of this film: The boxing champ's promoter thinks change is needed. He finds the one man who's beaten his champ, a white man now in a rock band. Like Rocky, he trains heavily, whereas the champ slacks. Why this movie, Chaz? Well, I don't know a lot of people that are still into the sweet science, but I can tell you right now, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one person, maybe my cousin Jamil, is the only person who loves boxing as much as my brother Chaz. If you follow boxing, then you will know that Cinco de Mayo weekend every single year is always a big weekend for boxing. Same day as September, usually around Labor Day weekend. May and September are the big boxing weekends. When Floyd was in his heyday, he would have a fight every May, every September, damn near like clockwork. Might be his only 2 fights of the year. And they are always
they
big.
got to be his only 2 fights of the year.
Yeah, it got to that point. It got to that point with him. Go ahead.
It was kind of crazy. He did it right after he fought De La Hoya.
And when he came out with the sombrero in 07, I believe. I think that was 07.
Yeah. I'm still baffled that there are people out there that said De La Hoya won that fight.
The only fight that I can say that Floyd, you can say that he lost, was the Castillo fight. That's probably the only I won't say blemish because obviously he won. But if you wanted to point to one fight in Floyd's career where you say, it's a Castillo fight. The De La Hoya, it's a close second. It wasn't. Floyd had been dominating cats. He didn't come out and just dominate Oscar. Oscar had he put on a good fight. It wasn't as out there. I want to see what the scorecard was. I'm interested to look that up and see what it was.
Oscar didn't land punches. He threw a lot of punches, but they weren't landing.
Yeah, absolutely right. He was very active, but that was a good fight. And obviously Floyd went on to be Floyd, undefeated the whole 9. But I mentioned Cinco de Mayo weekend. There are a lot of good fights this weekend. New York City on the Zone. You have Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, junior welterweight. You also have on May 3rd in Saudi Arabia, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skoll. And that is going to be for the WBC, WBO, and WBA super middleweight title. And Skoll has an IBF super middleweight title. A lot of belts and a lot of different champions in boxing. That might be one of the issues with the sport. Either way, and also you have on May 4th, you have Cardenas and I'm tripping. Help me out.
I didn't know that one. I didn't.
Yeah,
May 4th?
Cardenas and Inoue.
Oh, in a way. See,
there we go.
The thing is, in a way, I don't really pay attention to fighters that don't weigh at least 130 pounds.
That's fair. I can understand
that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
that's a junior featherweight.
Really a grown man.
Yeah, them children in there fighting.
Right.
Hey, you know what's funny? We say that.
They'll probably knock our ass out.
I'm going to say, when you say that, niggas see us on the street. What?
They're too fast, man. They're too fast.
Yeah, them fucks fast, man. But anyway, Cinco de Mayo weekend, we just felt it was right. Boog and myself always talk about this movie for as long as we've known each other. And we've always said, even years ago when the Culture Garden started, whenever we were going to do this movie, that he was going to be a guest. And here we are. We just felt like it was a perfect weekend. So that is why we're doing this. I want to go through a few stats real quick, Chaz. The film was released in theaters on May 3rd. So literally this weekend, as I mentioned. So it would be turning 29 years old, which is insane to think about. It was released May 3rd, 1996. It was directed by the legend, Reginald Hudlin. He directed House Party and Boomerang, which we've already covered here on the Culture Garden. Also directed The Ladies' Man. The Ladies' Man. Little inside joke between me and Chaz right now. He directed Marshall and also Number One on the Call Sheet. If you have not watched Number One on the Call Sheet on Apple TV, definitely watch it. It's worth a watch. It's talking about what it's like to be number one on the call sheet, specifically within Black Hollywood. It's a 2-part special or miniseries following actors and actresses. So please check that out. Well, not please, because I ain't do nothing for it, but it's definitely worth a watch if you are into film. Written by Ron Shelton and Tony Hendra. Ron Shelton actually wanted to get his name taken off this film. He hates this film. He wrote it. He wrote the screenplay mainly because Tony Hendra came through. He's a comedian. Tony Hendra, if you're not familiar with him, he's a comedian and came through and pretty much changed the entire script to make it a little bit more funny. And it was disjointed. Some of the critics will say, hey, I didn't necessarily like the ending or things like that. That was a big complaint from like Roger Ebert. And Ron Shelton was like, yo, this ain't what I wrote. And I want you to take my name off of it. But they did not oblige, so he still gets credit. If you're not familiar with Ron Shelton, he's actually written a lot of sports movies. He's written Bull Durham, White Men Can't Jump, Blue Chips, Tin Cup, Bad Boys 2. Actually wrote Bad Boys 2 as well. And I believe he wrote the new not the new one. It was just based off his character. So that's kind of his resume when it comes to this film writing. So I can understand this is not in the same realm, but I'll be real. I don't know if it's just because we're ignorant, but I would not want my name off this movie. This movie's hilarious. It's pure comedy.
It's hilarious. It's for real. It's a cult classic for real.
100%. I'm not sure what the budget was. I couldn't find it, but it did make $8 million, $3.3 million the opening weekend. It opened up at number 5 in the box office behind The Craft, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, The Quest, and Primal Fear. It was in theaters for 6 weeks and was in the top 10 for 3 of those 6 weeks. The film is currently streaming on Tubi. Now, I will say we're recording this on the last day of the month. You know, a lot of streaming services, once the new month rolls around, they take movies off. Chaz said that he thinks the movie's going to be going tomorrow, so it should be. You can rent it for sure for $3.99, but you can probably buy it on streaming services for $5. It's one of those type of movies. If Walmart Blockbuster was, it's worth the buy. It's definitely worth $5. And you know, if y'all remember them old Walmart and Blockbuster DVD bins for the $5 joints, this would be in there, and it would be definitely worth your $5. So check that out if it is not on Tubi. It was nominated for 0 awards. And as far as the cast goes, Chaz, let's talk about this real quick. In 2025, right? How wild is it to look at the cast of this movie and be like, damn.
Hey, when I just watched it again yesterday, I said to myself, damn, there's no way you can make that movie in 2025 without a crazy ass budget.
Yep.
A crazy. We're talking about Samuel L. Jackson and Jamie Foxx alone.
Just those two.
Getting Peter Berg in there, Jeff Goldblum.
Cheech, Sally Richardson Whitfield, who's become a big-time director. Shout out to Winning Time and all the other things that she's done.
I didn't know she was directing that.
Yeah, Sally Richardson directed a lot of episodes of Winning Time.
Hey man,
she even had more involvement with it.
Shout out to them. I hated that they ended it so abruptly.
Absolutely, man. It was great. She obviously in one of our favorite movies, Black Dynamite. I want to give her a proper credit for this and what she did with Winning Time, because she didn't create it because it was based off the book, but she definitely had a big role. She directed 5 episodes. Yeah, 5 of the 17 were directed by her. So shout out to her. Also, I'll go through the cast. You just mentioned a lot of the names. Samuel L. Jackson as Reverend Fred Sultan. Jeff Goldblum as Mitchell Kane. Damon Wayans as James the Grim Reaper Roper. We didn't even mention him. No. Pete Berg as Irish Terry Conklin. Corbin Burnson as Peter Prince. John Lovitz as Saul. Cheech Marin as Julio Escobar. Sally Richardson Whitfield as Bambi. Jamie Foxx as Hassan. Rocky Carroll as Artemis St. John Saint, which is crazy. The nigga's name was Artemis St. John Saint. That was the money man with the bow tie, the black dude with the glasses. Obviously, Rocky played in Rock. A lot of the actors in this film showed up in Rock. It's almost like a Rock reunion in a small sense. Or had an appearance in Rock, should I say. Michael Jace as Marvin Shabazz. If you listen to our replacements episode, me and School did, we talked about Michael Jace. Had a promising career. He was bootleg Michael Jordan. Obviously, if you watch The Shield, Shield is an incredible television show. He was in The Shield. Unfortunately, he murdered his wife. And he is in jail because he thought she was cheating. You know what? It doesn't matter what the reasons were. The man murders his wife, which is kind of crazy, but it's always odd seeing him because I always thought he had a promising career. Could have been a really good character actor had he not just lost it, man. So RIP to her and condolences to. This was just in 2014 too, so it's not like it happened in the 90s. This was 9 years ago. So condolences to her and her loved ones who were mourning her and things like that. That's kind of a wild story. The film also has appearances from Albert Hall as a Roper's trainer. He's an old school black legend. Chi McBride as the Spectator. Method Man as himself, and the late Anthony Johnson. Chaz, I got to ask you, is this in the Movie Poster Hall of Fame?
I'm gonna say no, but depending on how deep your Hall of Fame list is, it's let's put it this way: it's not first ballot, but it's probably second or third.
Yeah, I think it's a second or third ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
because it's a very distinctive cover. Like I know right away what movie it is when I see it. When I see Samuel with those boxing gloves around his neck and that all white with that shit-eating grin on his face, I know what that movie is. And I smile because I love this movie so much and I think it's hilarious. Is it one of the all-timers? No, but it is a cult classic. First ballot, regular, I say third ballot Hall of Famer when it comes to movie posters. And if you see it, I think it becomes, you'll give it a vote. You'll give it a vote because it's clean, it's simple, the whole nine. We kind of talked about it, classic or not.
Like I said, cult classic. Yeah, cult classic. If you've seen it, if you've seen this movie, typically you love it. I don't know too many people that have seen it that wasn't like, oh yeah, that's my shit. Like typically, if you've seen it, like, oh yeah, I fuck with that movie pretty heavy.
There's a special. It's almost like a special crowd when you meet people. There's always some obscure movies that aren't mainstream, but like you said, cult classics. And when you meet people that fuck with it, they automatically oh, I fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like I know that if we sat down and spent more time, I know that we'll probably even like get to know each other more, like each other better. But if you like Great White Hype, off the rip, I fuck with you.
No, you're right.
We talk about movies like School says it all the time. Who Made the Potato Salad? There's certain movies like
because you got me hip to that.
Yeah, that was. I remember us watching that for the first time, or you watching it for the first time. Certain things just kind of put you in a certain category and group, and Great White Hype is one of them. To your point, Chaz, I've never heard anyone say, they fuck with this movie. And like, damn, where have I been that I haven't seen it? And once again, even the nostalgia purposes, when you look at the cast and you're like, yo, all these people were in this movie in 96. So that alone. Do you know kind of the basis and origin of this movie?
As far as what?
Just like the Great White Hope.
Okay, so I know that
and they talked about it in the film.
I know that so back when I don't even know if I was born yet, but the Jerry Cooney, Larry Holmes, they built.
No, you were not born. I believe that was a year before. It was in. Okay. I believe it was June '82. It was '82.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody
so
out there listening,
I have seen the fight,
this nigga was born in '83. Keep going. Keep going though.
Yeah. I have seen the fight though. But Jerry Cooney wasn't necessarily bad. He
wasn't a slouch.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, but he didn't have it for Larry Holmes.
Nah, not a lot of people didn't. This film is obviously a satire. If you haven't watched it, it's a satire of the sport of boxing. It kind of dives into all of the issues that go on with boxing. Remember when this film was released? This is 1996, so this was still in the heavyweight heyday when you said Tyson, Lewis, Holyfield, and not to mention, I think there's even a scene in this film. It's a scene where the champ is eating ice cream with the ring, where old girl in there is reading the Ring magazine, and De La Hoya's on the cover. So boxing was in a very good space. And boxing was also wild. Still is to this day because there is no like structured organization when it comes to boxing. which is why you have so many belts and so many champions. It's not like the NBA where you know what the NBA is. It's a structure, it's a schedule. They have drafts. You know when the schedule is going to be released. You got everything in line. The NBA, the NHL, all of that. Boxing is and has been the wild, wild west. There's always been a lot of shady characters in
Oh,
boxing.
there's definitely shady characters. It
100%, 100%.
and it
If you don't, if
definitely
you haven't, go ahead, go ahead.
no, it definitely shed the light on that too. Like a
Yeah.
lot of it, like a lot of the how the promoters get over on their fighters and stuff. Like when I don't want to just get too
No,
much
we'll
into
get
the
it. We'll get into the scene. I know exactly what you're
yeah
talking about, but that's it's a comedy, but that's real shit. We're gonna keep buying this nigga's Rolls Royces, like instead
yeah
of paying him the money he deserves. We'll buy him a couple houses. It's almost like rappers, right? You
yeah.
hear about some of these rap deals and everything like that. We give you everything but the money, or even back in the day, right? When they would buy black artists, like we'll buy you houses, but we ain't break
Mm-hmm.
you off this publishing or nothing like that. So it's kind of wild. But Jerry Cooney, like, if you want to take it back to that time, right? So we're talking early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. He was cast as the Great White Hope, which obviously this film called The Great White Hype. And they mentioned the film as the highest grossing heavyweight fight of all time because it was. There had not been a white heavyweight champion in 22 years before the Holmes and Cooney fight, right?
Okay.
So for all y'all listening, if you go back to that time, this is like the original, I don't want to say original, but one of the first notable racially sparked sporting events, right? We've had a lot of them over the years. This was one of those iconic ones to the point where there were different white supremacist groups that came out and said, we have people ready to shoot Holmes as soon as he enters the ring. Like, we're going to send shooters because it was at Caesar's Palace. And if you've been to Caesars, I don't believe Caesars doesn't have a auditorium. It doesn't have a gym. They had this fight in the parking lot. And remember, this is early 80s Caesars, so Vegas isn't as the strip has always been large and flashy, but it was a lot more room. There's a lot less real estate in 2025. But they had it in the parking lot, and they were able to seat people out there. So that's why they said that. And it had to the point where brothers, black groups was like, shit, we coming strapped up too. What y'all want to do? And then the cops came and said, well, we putting snipers on the roof. And cops literally, the Las Vegas police literally had snipers on the roof in case anything shook off. And they could do that because the fight was outside. That's how racially divided this fight was. And the fight, I mean, the movie obviously goes into that. Holmes was named first before Cooney. He was announced first before Cooney was. And if you know anything about boxing, you know how disrespectful that is for me to be a champion and I'm being announced before this dude who hasn't fought. You ain't fought nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not about to do that to me. You're not about to disrespect me like that. And it wasn't a bad fight. This is back in the day when boxing rounds or boxing matches went 15 rounds. I always say, and me and Chaz have had the conversation a lot. The Hearns Robinson fight or Leonard fight, excuse me. The
Yeah.
Hearns Leonard fight goes a lot differently if it's 12 rounds versus 15. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I believe Cooney got stopped in the 13th.
Yeah.
And even to that point, Bud, he still could have won by split decision based off of some of the scorecards. And it really wasn't that close of a fight. So they really wanted him.
It wasn't. It was
it wasn't. So that's my whole point. Boxing's the scorecards and judging in boxing is always going to be a polarizing topic for those of you who don't follow the sport. But just to let you know, they were going to give him the title if it was close enough. He didn't have to beat him. He just didn't have to badly lose, and they would have given Cooney the title.
He just had to survive.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And Cooney and Holmes are really good friends to this day. You know what I mean? Even after all that, they kind of really became cool, and Holmes helps Cooney out with his organization where he gives back to like former fighters, tries to get some insurance, healthcare, all that kind of good stuff. They're really good friends, but it's always interesting when you look back at that time and kind of see this movie is a parody of all of that. It's a much funnier version because that shit wasn't sweet back then.
No.
But that's how it played out, and that was the inspiration of this film, and they went ahead and rolled with it. So with that being said, I want to ask you a question. I didn't ask you beforehand, so you don't know what I'm about to ask you. Do you have a favorite boxing movie of all time? And if you don't have a favorite, give me your top 3.
So I'm probably going to go with Creed.
I think Creed is. Hey, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy, Bug?
What?
When I asked myself this question, I thought I was crazy for thinking that Creed was my favorite boxing movie. I thought I was tripping for a second. But Creed is
I
that
mean,
fucking good.
yeah, no, Creed. I love Creed. I thought it was amazing.
Creed is incredible.
So I would say Creed.
Do you count Ali, or do you look at Ali more like a movie about a boxer versus a boxing movie?
So I was gonna say Ali, but I wasn't gonna say it number 2.
Okay. You gonna say the Meg Ryan movie with Omar Epps?
Nah. I'm actually gonna say. I'm actually gonna say. Damn, could I give you 5?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. It's your word. You the boxing man,
Okay.
so you absolutely give us 5.
Okay. So I'm going to say Creed number 1. Um, Raging Bull number 2.
Classic.
I'm going to say Ali number 3. Great White Hype number 4, and then a movie called it. I would probably either Gladiator or Undisputed.
Gladiator, as in.
So it was a movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and
Oh, was it Dolph? It was
not Dolph, but
who was the white dude?
I can't remember. Damn, what's
The
his name?
dude.
I'm trying to remember his name.
It wasn't Van Damme, was it?
Nah.
Oh, hold on, man. Damn, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can't think of that. James Marshall.
Okay.
That was a young Cuba too.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a throwback. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Okay.
So yeah, and then it goes back and forth between that and Undisputed for me.
No Rocky, huh?
Hey, I'm way more a fan of the characters than I am the actual movie. Like Clubber Lang, love Clubber Lang. Hey woman, like
Hey,
when he said that to her,
Rocky
I fell
3.
out.
Rocky 3, low key, one of the most racist movies ever. But that's a
Absolutely.
whole nother conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Like that in 48 hours can have a real conversation. I think I mentioned this recently in an episode. But 48 hours is like the fact that he got that shit off is crazy.
Is it weird that I love both of those movies?
No, I love them. I love both of them. I love
Because I
both of
love
them.
both
But
of those movies.
it's one of those things where you're like, all right, okay, we going there. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Here we
yeah.
go. I would say Creed is my number 1. Just out of GP, like you got to put Raging Bull in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not only just a great boxing movie, but just a great film in general. Even though my man's was wilding, in his personal life.
Oh yeah.
But Scorsese and De Niro, you really can't go wrong with that combination. It might have won Best Picture, or De Niro might have won Best Actor
I think
for
he won
that.
Best Actor.
I'd have to look that up. Ali, I got to put that in there. So we're at Creed, Raging Bull, Ali. I'm with you. Great White Hype has to be because it's my list, so I'm going off my personal favorites. You know what I saw at the literally I saw on New Year's Day of this year. It's not in my top 5, but I just want to shout it out real quick. A Fire Inside, the Clarissa Shields story.
I
Not a
love
bad
that
movie.
movie. I
Not a
love that
bad
movie.
movie at all. I guess my fifth would have to be. I don't know, man. Would it be Cinderella Man?
That's a good movie too. Good
It might
movie
be
too.
Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. Now I want to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I would. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna. Next time we do a boxing movie, Chaz, we'll have to really think about our list and have a good, solid, maybe top 10 boxing movie list.
Yeah.
And I also want to see where these movies rank among sports movies in general. You have a favorite sports movie of all time?
I don't have them, but I got favorites of sports movies, but I haven't ranked them.
Yeah, top of my head is probably Any Given Sunday and He Got Game.
I was definitely gonna say Any Given Sunday though. That was
That's
like
literally off the top of my head.
um
I do that thing where there's a movie that's right there and I can't think of it, and I'll probably look at it after like, oh shit, I'm tripping.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that one day. We'll have a sports movie episode and just kind of rank our sports. Get Ray P in here. I know she loves Remember the Titans. I think that might be her number one.
I'm not mad at that. I
Can't be
learned
mad
a
at
lot
that.
of I learned a lot about that movie, man.
Yeah, man, you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad
Yeah.
at that movie.
How many feet are in
All
a
right.
mile?
First, you said what?
How many feet are in a mile?
I ain't playing for no Coach Coon.
5,280 feet, and you gonna let it
You
run
think
every last one of them.
you're killing me, Petey. First experience. Boog, you remember your first time watching this movie?
No, I don't remember. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't remember going to the theaters and watching it.
Yeah,
I
you was old
definitely
enough.
remember. You said what now?
You was old enough. You was driving.
Right. No, but I definitely remember grabbing it from Blockbuster. And yes, I'm old enough for Blockbuster.
Yeah, we both are. I can't even clown you on Blockbuster. Low key. I miss Blockbuster, but that's a whole
I
other
miss it
conversation.
too.
What do you remember about your first watch on this?
I remember laughing as soon as I seen Samuel L. Jackson's hair. I was in tears at that. Just the very first time. Oh shit! I already know this was gonna be funny, and I remember thinking like I don't know if I want to get into this right now because of the.
All right, we can wait.
Yeah,
So we're gonna get. I'll talk about my first experience, and we'll go ahead and get into the scenes.
Yeah.
I can't say I remember my very first time watching this, but I do know the reason I watched this was because of Pops, because this was just one of his favorite like subtle comedies, and there was another under the radar. I had never heard of it. Speaking of another, we talked about these earlier. Those special clubs. The movie we did last, My Blue Heaven.
Yeah.
Adventures in Babysitting.
Absolutely.
Not enough people talk about Adventures in Babysitting.
Absolutely.
One of the all-timers. And there's only like a handful of people I've ever spoken to about that movie in my entire life.
Yeah, I fuck with it.
All-timer. Adventures in Babysitter is an all-timer. I was about to start quoting that shit. I just remember him. There's certain lines, which is we didn't talk about this yet. Extremely quotable movie. This is an extremely quotable movie. And there's certain lines that I specifically remember getting weak at, and I'm like, what is this? Because this might be late 90s, early 2000s. I might have seen this around 2000, 2001. And I couldn't believe the cast and everything I was seeing. Because remember, at this time, Jamie Foxx had already done Any Given Sunday. Samuel was Samuel. Pete Bird, he kind of shifted towards directing or was moving towards that way. We knew him. Sally Richardson, she had already done Low Down Dirty Shame and a lot of other things. Stupid motherfucker. Could have had some pussy. One of my favorite movie lines of all time.
There's really just a lot of pussy though?
Nah, she lying. She was lying. She should have shot that nigga way before that even got down.
Yeah, it really has some pussy though.
But there was just so much going on. So it was like, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, how did you get all these people here? But I just remember enjoying it, getting super weak at the film, and just how ridiculous it was. From all the way from Samuel L. Jackson's hair to Jeff Goldblum as a character, just kind of his whole existence in this film, to Marvin Shabazz just getting ducked. And we talked about it does play in some real themes in boxing, like people being made up to. They even did this in Creed, right? Like got him a title shot because of his name and said, we're going to count the Mexico fights. We're going to get you approved, get you ranked in the top 10 so you can get a shot. Same thing they did with Terry Conklin. Like this man was in a rock band and it really said, we're going to make you top 10. All of that stuff happens. The people that are deserving of a title shot, big fights that we've been waiting to see happen that never happen. Like that all happens with boxing. So I love the fact that they touched on it. But let's go ahead and get into best scenes and moments because there are a lot of scenes and moments in this movie. Chaz, you a guest, man. We'll have you go first.
Okay, so I will say my opening scene, the opening scene of the fight, when Roper is in there, Damon Wayans is in there, and he's fighting the dude, and Mitchell Kane is interviewing or saying something, and then he in front of Shy McBride, and this motherfucker like, he said that shit like, what he said to him?
Hey, motherfuckers, you dead.
My brother, I'm a man of peace. He said, I can't let no white motherfucker call me brother.
Not to mention my brother dead.
So then he get up and he said, oh, where you going? It's three of you motherfuckers. There's only one of me. And y'all running like roaches when the lights come on.
Let me just speak on that real quick for one. Filming a documentary ringside, like a full-on like reporter style, while a fight is going on is insane. Like you said, I spent $1,500. He said, I ain't spent $1,500 on the ticket to fly. What's her name out here? Couldn't even think of the woman's name for you to be blocking it. He would have got his ass whooped just off GP on that. And if you ever been to a boxing match,
nigga, I went with you.
No. I'm not saying have you. I know we went. We went to the Silverdome. Shout out to the Silverdome.
Yeah.
I was saying if you've ever been to a boxing match, there's a certain energy in the air where niggas start feeling themselves in the crowd. And they start looking around like anybody can get in this bitch if they want to jump off because everybody thinks they a boxer that night. So that's a real thing. Like there's a lot of hostile energy and there is like, bro, I'll punch you right now if you don't get out the way. You
remember when we was in Cincinnati at the Broner fight and they got that Rich Homie Quan? It's oh shit. Hey,
the energy is a real thing. That's all I'm gonna say. Energy is a real thing. I forgot all about that shit. R.I.P. I forgot. Yeah, I shot R.I.P. Rich Homie Quan. I forgot all about that Broner fight. Yeah. They ended up in a draw, didn't it?
Nah, it was a split decision.
Yeah, that's a split decision. But the whole intro itself, just to add on to the scene, even I mentioned earlier me being in Vegas, the Vegas lights. There's something about the Vegas lights. If you've never been, it's just something that draws you in. All these iconic hotels. It's weird to see it in 1996 because a lot of the stuff isn't around. What's even more crazy, some of it is still around, like Circus Circus. I can't believe that Circus Circus is still up and running and operating, but it is. We get straight in the ring. I like when we get to know who the character is right off rip. So we meet Roper. He in there whooping his ass. We know Roper's a champ. But even after the whole Child McBride scene, we get to meet Rev Sultan, who comes in the ring just on some fried shit. The imitation of Don King, him taking over the interviews. Marvin Shabazz, we've been hearing what you're saying. You better watch your mouth. The hype of boxing, all of that. I just loved every single second because it let me know exactly what we're going with these characters in this film. Also, ref should have stopped that fight. Ref was tripping.
Yeah.
Dude was getting
when I watched that again, I was saying about something like, damn, that's a horrible ref.
Yeah. Ref didn't care. Ref didn't care, man. He was the worst type of nigga. That opening scene will lead me into the press conference. It's going to lead me right into the press conference after the fight. We first meet Marvin Shabazz and the character played by Jamie Foxx. They're a tag team throughout the entire movie. He tells him, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that. He ain't fought nobody. You keep ducking me. And Roper's like, man, we ain't ducking. You're just so black we can't find you. Right. And they having a back and forth. Shabazz called him a B.I.H. and his homeboys there talking about B.I.H. It's B.I.H. Where the fuck you from? Just goofy, silly shit when you watch the film. I'm not doing it any justice with my delivery, but it is some wild shit. If you were sitting there and heard that shit, you would have no choice but to get weak. And like I said, that kind of leads into the issue of boxing, right? The no organized structure. If your pay-per-view sales and your ticket sales are low, that means some fighters aren't getting paid. There's no real like insurance or union or nothing to fall back on. Like these boxers are ass naked. They're getting robbed, like not literally, but behind the scenes getting robbed and everything else. And
well, no, think about that. Think about that. What you just said. There was like a report that said that Don King was charging Mike Tyson out like $20,000 for towels.
Don King. Don King's still up and running, man. He's still up and moving, man.
He's still alive. Yeah, he's still alive.
I don't think he's fucking niggas over no more. Cleveland too. You said what?
I don't think he fucking niggas over no more. But
yeah, I mean, a nigga 93 years old. I hope not. If you get fucked over by a 93-year-old Don King, you deserve it.
True.
That's all I got to say about that. You know what I mean? $20,000 for towels is insane.
Yeah.
But that lets you know a lot of the, especially back then, a lot of those young boxers didn't really have anybody looking out for them, and they just had pure raw talent. And it's such a gatekeeper type of sport. Like a lot of these promoters, and think about it, like it's one of the few, maybe the only sport where you have promoters. Like this is my camp. Like this is my boxer. This is my fighter. You're profiting off of somebody that you have no say so in their success. You ain't in there throwing hands. You literally just picking like, all right, cool. I think you're the best, and I'm gonna ride your coattails into a payday.
Yeah,
and it's kind of crazy to think about. And that's why Floyd went ahead and did what he did, his own promoter on his own imprint. And that's still an issue to this day. But you still Golden Boy promotions, all of that. Boxing is just kind of, it needs a restructure, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Especially since the sport's not as popular as it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. Still popular, but not wildly popular unless it's a big fight.
You can't, if the best don't eventually fight the best, it's hard to build the sport up. Like you're gonna have your stars, but when you don't, it's hard to build like superstars at this juncture. I can't think of one superstar outside of Canelo. And you could maybe say Tank.
He's not a superstar,
but the only thing
but he's not a superstar to the average sports world.
He's not a superstar outside it, like to the world, but he could be if he fought some of the people that we want him to fight. But I will say this: it's very few scenes in this world like a Tank fight. Like if you go to a Tank fight, oh yeah, that's an event.
Was there ever anybody? Probably Ali and Tyson, but the Floyd run, not the run itself, but a Floyd fight. Floyd was one of the first to like really market himself as the villain.
Yeah.
It was like wrestling almost. I'll play the heel because not only will the people that love me come see me win, the people that hate me will pay good money to see me lose. And every single fight, it was kind of like the Great White Hype, where there's so much build up to a fight where you start believing your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, certain people have zero chance, but it gets closer and you're like, damn, all it takes is one punch. Maybe somebody will get him. And there were so many fights that Floyd took towards, who did he fight? And it's crazy because I ain't hear from dude again. I know he fought a few other people when my mans didn't protect himself.
Oh, Victor Ortiz.
Yes, Victor Ortiz. Like all of those fights, there were people every single one of those fights in that era that were lined up. We can go back to Hatton. that were saying, "Oh yeah, man, he might get Floyd. This might be the fight that Floyd loses." And people were paying big box office money to see it, and it never happened.
Outside of Cotto, I think Cotto might have had the best shot out of everybody that did fight him throughout that Money Mayweather era. Cotto probably put up the best fight too. He still lost,
Yeah,
but
Cotto's a
and
bad
then
boy.
there's also the Shane Mosley, where Shane Mosley, I don't know what happened with Shane Mosley because he caught him in that second round, and had he been able to, but that it was like as a quote like from this movie, it was almost like when Floyd went back to his corner. Oh, you trying to embarrass me on TV?
Yeah.
And he proceeded to whoop his ass every round after that.
It's funny because when I think about that Mosley fight, I know exactly what you're. Obviously, we all know exactly what you're talking about if you watch that fight and follow boxing. But the funny thing about it is, all I seem to remember or think about is Nick Cannon. Like Nick Cannon was the first face I saw in the crowd that popped up once Floyd got rocked. Cause we ain't never seen Floyd really buckle like that.
No.
And there was real concern, like, oh shit.
No.
You know what I mean? So it was one of those things. And I also want to say, Floyd fighting Marquez, the comeback fight,
yeah,
was one of the most masterful pieces of boxing that I've ever seen in my life. I just want to put that on the record. One of the most masterful, like just picking someone apart. The defense, the counters, it was beautiful.
Would you place that performance over the Gotti performance?
No. The Gotti performance is first, but you can argue the Marquez because of how much time he had not been in the ring, and Marquez wasn't no slouch.
Okay,
and he made Marquez look like Terry Conklin. Like I had been in a rock band for the past 10 years and hadn't picked up boxing gloves.
If I had to rank
I couldn't believe it.
His 5 best performances, I would say the Gotti performance, Diego Corrales, and then I would say the Canelo performance, then the Marquez performance, and then I would probably say the Cotto fight just because of the grit that he showed. Because that was the first time I actually seen Floyd bleed in the Cotto fight. Like that was a rough fight.
Yeah. Nah, Cotto ain't no hoe. Cotto ain't no hoe, man. Either way, we can get back to the scenes. After the fight, we talked about the press conference, but also James comes in and is like, man, I'm ready for my payday. Today's the day. Yeah. And we find out the box office numbers are terrible. The ticket sales weren't good. They had to give away tickets. Buy him another Rolls Royce. He ain't here with it. And Rev has a great idea. What's the highest grossing heavyweight fight of all time? Cooney versus Holmes. Why? Because Cooney was a white boy. If I can't find you a white heavyweight, I'll create one. And that kind of gets us into the whole premise of the movie. White heavyweight, I don't even go together. That's like saying black unity. They was in here wilding on this. But after that, my next scene is them watching the tapes to find the fighter. Do you have anything before that as far as scenes?
No, that was it. That was
That's your next scene as well. You want to get into it?
Yeah. So we get to see the gorgeous Sally Richardson.
Flawless to this day. She's 57 years old. Respectfully.
I know she is married. I know she's
married.
But damn.
I'm not even gonna say what I want to say because I respect her. I respect her marriage.
But damn.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
Yeah. And then they're going through the fighters, and the only fighter that I really truly remembered that they showed was Tommy the Duke Morrison. And then there was the little line about he was John Wayne's nephew, or he was related to the Duke. the actual dude,
The
and that's
cousin. Yeah, you
actually
know he's
how he
like
got it.
he's this real like grandnephew or something like that.
Yeah,
Grand
yeah,
something. Yeah.
that's actually how that worked out. So, but yeah, so he was the only one that I seen, but she had the great idea, like, well, he's undefeated in the pros, but he wasn't in the amateurs. There's got to be somebody, and then that's when the Sultan said, you know what, that's a good idea. She works for me now. You know what I'm saying? And no, none of the other people that was in there thought of that.
They didn't have the scope, and you know what that showed me for real?
Hmm.
They weren't boxing fans. Like she followed the sport of boxing, in which we talk about. Boxing is a very niche sport. Not so much back then, but now, like
Yeah,
you know some people that know the big fights and the big fighters, but the people that watch like they don't back in the day that the ESPN Friday night fights, all of that kind of stuff, like that crowd is dwindling. I don't know. UFC took a lot of that audience, but there's still people who watch every single weekend, every single time they can catch a fight. They'll pay for the DAZN, they'll pay for the ESPN Plus and watch these fights, even if it's not Tank or Bud or whoever the case is, or Canelo, the whole nine. One of the fights was Anders Eklund, Tim Witherspoon and Eklund. That's the dude really got his jaw rewired. Like, he
yeah.
punched him and broke his shit. Boxing is it's not for the faint. It's not for the faint of heart. Her knowing that and her knowing this is how we can market it, and Sultan being on the same page, the only two people in the room, he knew exactly where she was going with this because he followed boxing. I follow his career. I know there's only one person in this world that's ever knocked him down and knocked him out, and it wasn't his mom, as Saul has said. It was Terry Conklin. So how do we find dude and how we get him to sign it up? Like I said, it's a whole bunch of goofy shit. Because imagine. And what's really crazy is it's not that far-fetched for boxing to do something like this, to say, hey, I want to build this event, because it's all about marketing. That's all boxing is. Obviously, the real fight matters. But if they want to sell something, they're going to market it the right way. We're going to find this dude that was in a rock band in Cleveland and convince him to come out of retirement. Matter of fact, he's never fought a professional fight. And we're going to get him to fight the heavyweight champion of the world and gas him up to make him believe that he can do it.
We've seen this in boxing.
When was the last time we've seen it?
Mayweather McGregor. How much
that's
did that?
a whole different.
And how much did that do?
Yeah, you're right. That went crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
That went crazy. They really thought, and people, once again, people really thought McGregor could beat Mayweather. I'm like, what are y'all smoking? Like, that shit crazy. Like, this man is all right. Anyway, Shabazz and his crew roll in with the guns, and I'll say this. I just want to say it early. Them niggas pulled out way too many guns for nobody to get shot. At some point, and I'm not talking about this scene. Later in the movie, in the very end scene, Jamie Foxx's character pulls out another strap. At some point, you're gonna stop pointing these guns at me, man, and I'm gonna shoot you. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's just what it comes down to. Every time I see you pulling the strap on me, bro, no, we're not doing that.
I mean, if I am mistaken, he did it like 3 times in this movie.
That's what I'm
right?
saying, bro. Who do you think I am that you can just pull out the strap 3 different times and think that shit's sweet?
How is he getting in all these spots without getting checked?
Yeah, man, that's movie magic for one.
Right.
But also, you can move like that in 96 a little bit. I'm sure niggas was tooled up at them Tyson fights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they was tooled up. So it is what it is. Tyson was probably tooled up.
Well, let me say this real quick. Because he comes in there and he has the line, he was like, and we come in this motherfucker like Nino Brown style, yeah. So when he came in there, he was looking around, and then he started seeing motherfuckers point guns at him and shit. Oh yeah, well maybe we need to go ahead and just put these down. Sally Richardson was right when she said, my daddy always said, you don't never
pull your
your
shit
gun
out
out
if you ain't ready to use it.
Yeah, you right. Somebody should have been shot.
Somebody should have been shot. Because you're not 3 times. Come on, bro. Every time we meet, you pulling out a gun on me? We're not doing this. We're not doing this. What Jake say in training day? That's the second time you put a gun on me. There will not be a third.
Right.
I don't know what you thought this was, man. But yeah, that whole scene, because that's how it really was. Like I said, I want my title fight. You promised me, you playing with me. I'm so mad that I'm gonna roll in your crib with 3 of my niggas. We all gonna be strapped. And I promise you, if you don't guarantee us a fight, we will shoot you. But it also show how smooth Sultan was. We just working on the details right now, man. We trying to get it all together. You still driving that Merlot Broham? Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get you.
Is it Broham or Brown?
You don't know what a maroon Broham is? Actually, it's Merlot. It's a Cadillac. It's a Broham to us. The same way I be calling on Raising Can, I be calling dudes Stefano when his name's Stefano. Black people always put a little extra sauce on it. A little extra sauce on it, man. After that scene, I have the Roper getting the ring from Sultan. It's not really a scene, it's a moment. I just want to shout this out real quick. And if I skip something over, you can go back to it. Roper was the worst type of nigga. Think about this, Chaz. Your mans comes in the room. This is a gift from the Sultan. 7, 8 carat diamond ring, whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. Like, nice ass ring. Looks at it, closes the box, tosses it. You see your 3 friends fighting over it. Your mans comes up with it, happy as hell. Yeah, this gonna look good on me. Yeah. And then while you were sitting there dropping sherbet on your shirt, seeing your man's happy, you say, "Hey, let me see that real quick." And then puts it on your ring and say, "Yeah, I like this. Yeah, you look good in it, champ." With the salty face, you just gotta take that. That's the worst type of shit ever. You waited to see your man get hyped about his new ring and said, "No, you know what? Matter of fact, run that. That's my ring. I do want that. Matter of fact, come on, man. Stop playing with me." And you can't do nothing. What you gonna do? You gonna beat up James Roper? No. Exactly. Don't embarrass me in front of the. Hey, listen. If I ever was in that situation, which I wouldn't be, we at least have to have an understanding. Like, bro, don't embarrass me in front of the women. Wait till Shorty leave the room or something before you do some shit like that, man. Now she gonna tell the homegirls, all types of shit. Because you forever the nigga that got your ring taken by James Roper. To her. You know what I'm saying? You were running. Don't do that, man. Don't do that in front of the women, man. I'm supposed to be your man's.
No, he definitely clowned my man like that, man. That was kind of fucked up.
What else you got? Nah, it ain't even kind of. It's all the way fucked up. Because my next scene after that is going to be when Shabazz crashes the press conference with Conklin, and they get into it. So I don't know if you have anything before that or not.
No, that was actually going to be my one as well.
Go ahead, get into it.
So he comes in, he crashes the conference, and he says the fucking craziest. Hey, they used to say some crazy ass shit, but this might be the craziest line I've ever seen or ever heard in any cinema. He said, "I'll stick my dick so far up your ass, I'll impale your tonsils." And the only thing I could do when I heard that is I thought back to Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah.
When Mike Tyson he said, "No, fuck you, white boy. I'll fuck you till you love me." I don't know what his response was after that.
What do you say to that?
I don't know, but it's time to leave. It's time to find the exit. Because that's not something you would have find out if he's serious.
I know we got that like bravado and that ego. Sometimes you gotta run.
Right.
Run for the nearest exit.
What you always used to say, hey, listen, if you threaten me, I believe you.
I say it all the time, y'all. If you threaten me, I believe you. Don't play with me like that. I'm getting you before you get me. Because you told me that when you saw me, you was going to do this to me, right? I believed you when you said that. So I'm not going to let that happen to me.
So I got to find it. Hey, listen, I'm finding the exit immediately.
Finding the exit ASAP, bro. Because if man, I'm gonna fuck you till you love me. Nah, bro. We
No,
ain't doing none of that. We ain't doing none of that. I'm out of here.
but when
And like you
Shabazz
said,
said that,
there's nothing to that. And Saul was like, "There's a vision."
you're right. He said, "Shut up." He's like, "Okay."
Want to be black man. Um, Shabazz is hilarious in this movie. I ain't gonna hold you.
Definitely.
But the greatest thing about this, and this kind of falls into the boxing lore. If you ask the average fan one thing about boxing, they can always tell you that, hey, the face off could get a little spicy. And we know this wasn't a face off, but it was a press conference. If you watch boxing press conferences of any sort, there's always some spice, and it's always unedited, and there's always some very, very disrespectful things being said. Like the things that you say, I can't wait to get in the ring with you. Those type of things are being said at press conferences and face-offs and everything else. But if you're trying to sell a fight, if you rev, that's the perfect moment because here comes Conklin getting up like, what's up? What's the problem? Shabazz like, man, fuck you. You don't want shit. You ain't fought nobody neither. And jumps at him. Yeah, that's what I thought. And Conklin got tired, man. He said one too many things. Just hit him with that overhand right and dropped this shit. So now I'm a legitimate contender because remember, nobody has seen this nigga fight. You just popped out of nowhere. Now you're about to fight the champ. Now I'm knocking out the number one contender, which a lot of people probably think got hands. Oh, the fight buildup is really getting real because white boy can throw. White boy really can knock people out the whole nine and go from there.
Like Samuel Jackson said, we just sold another 50,000 tickets.
Yeah. Because if you see that and you had any kind of trepidation, like, fuck that, I got to watch this fight. I didn't know he was coming like that. I didn't know that overhand right was that nice. Yeah. He just knocked out Shabazz.
And Jamie Foxx's reaction to the shit. He's like, oh.
Dragged him out of there and everything. We gonna come back and shoot up everything. And there's a lot of other like just funny stuff even going into this because I think this might have been the time. No, the Saul was still around because we see later on that Mitchell Kane falls under the umbrella, I would say, of Rev Sultan. That's one of my favorite scenes too. I didn't really write down, but I do want to mention it.
Yeah, that was my next scene.
Go ahead, get into it then.
So my next scene is right before. So Mitchell Kane sends the Sultan some pictures. They kind of, I guess they're kind of racy pictures.
Kind of.
I don't really even like. I'm still wondering, like, when you look at the pictures, like, how the fuck did you get a copy of these pictures? Like, but that's crazy. But either way, so he sends them the pictures, and then they set up a meeting. So
mano y mano.
Yeah. He said my dick laughs. but they set up the meeting, and once they set up the meeting, right before that, he's talking to his crew, and he's giving them kind of like, yo, if I don't come back, you know what I'm saying, all the documents, all the pictures, all the everything, y'all just make sure that y'all get this out in the open, So they do the hug, and then he's hugging the white girl, and then his cameraman, who is that was a very awkward moment because he's like sniffing her hair, and I don't know, it was kind of some weird shit. So he goes in there, he meets with the Sultan. The Sultan's in this big ass jacuzzi bath and shit, and they start talking, and next thing you know, he comes out, and Saul is getting tossed out, and he's like, he changed the whole narrative of everything. Like, oh yeah. Then he lost his crew because his crew was like, man, this nigga, you motherfucker sold out. Man, I don't know about selling out. Like, what did he say? It was the past less travel.
Yeah, Sultan offers you a job and that power. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that committed to the cause. I just want to be known. I want my name to ring out a little bit. That's kind of what he was on. Also, another scene that I'll add on is when Mitchell Kane, he's in the fold now, but he's also ambitious. Like we see Mitchell Kane go from truth teller, air quotes, to turning into Rev Sultan, all the way down to the cigar, all the way down to telling Conklin, "I love you, Terry." Like all of that, he turned into him because that's what he wanted. He wanted the power. He wanted a voice in Vegas and to call some shots because not like it was in the Sinatra, Martin, Sammy Davis days, but if you somebody in Vegas, you somebody everywhere. Yeah, you somebody everywhere. Like you know the movers and shakers. That's why all till this day, as much as we talk about the sport has dropped off, till this day, every big fight will have every A-lister that you can think of comes to fight because it's an event and it's a status. It's a badge of honor in a sense, or a badge of status as far as a status symbol. You know what I'm trying to say, as far as who you are. And with that being said, when Mitchell said, you know what, he came and saw Terry Conklin. Terry Conklin was in the ring at the MGM. It's kind of, night before the fight type shit. And his trainer's there, which we ain't talk about his trainer. Another wildly racist person. But once again, I laughed. He sit there and said, he came and talked to the trainer first and said, you know what? I'm thinking, if Terry wins, that nigga immediately said, wins? like, are you serious? Once again, it separates, and I keep talking about this. It's such a niche sport. If you don't follow it, it's easy to fall into the hype.
Yeah.
It's easy to think like, hey, he might have a shot. And people that really know boxing are laughing like, are you crazy? Do you really think he's going to beat James Roper? And he kind of gets his own thing on some, you know what? Fuck it. I'll sign him and he can come with me and we'll run boxing together. So I like that scene of just seeing where he was and how he turned and went from so wholesome to one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a big part of it. And that even leads into the scene where he met with the Sultan the night before. He still hadn't told him, but he was just like, looking forward to tomorrow night. And I'd say the last 20 minutes, Chaz, of the film, from the walkouts all the way to the fights, both fights, because there were two fights at the end, is incredible. I don't know if you want to kick it off or I can set it up for you.
Yeah, no, go ahead and kick it off.
All right. So in the last 20 minutes of the film, we have the walkouts and the fights. They were really pitching this clean-cut white kid. They made him Irish, even though he repeatedly told them, I'm not Irish. They had little people throwing Lucky Charms in the crowd. Just really, really going for it. Really, really going for it, right? They made up a letter. There was a scene where Mitchell Kane read a letter, which we find out wasn't a real letter. He made it up on the spot of a blind kid who was rooting for him, and he made him believe that he could walk again. They found a blind kid in a wheelchair and brought him to the fight. Like Terry Conklin, and it's fucked up. But the fact that he was like kissing him on the forehead and you see the kid waving the Irish flag, like, yeah, Terry. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on, man? It reminded me of, no, what? I ain't gonna say that, man. I ain't gonna do it. I mentioned multiple times throughout this episode, buying into the hype, which goes into the name of the movie. The announcers were even there, like, if Roper had fought someone as good as Conklin, would he be the champion today? Like, they really buying this bullshit. And it just kind of gets you in the ring. And it's a comedy. I don't know if you thought it, but was there ever a moment where you thought that Terry was going to win this fight?
No,
not once, right?
Not even after seeing him at the weigh-in.
Ripping a cigarette?
No, I'm talking about at the weigh-in.
At the weigh-in, yeah, with the belly out.
Yeah.
The best part, one of my favorite parts of this last 20 minutes is we don't know where Roper is. He's in the back. My man's is ripping a cigarette, watching Dolomite. That's how unbothered he was about fighting Conklin. He has one of my favorite lines of the movie, and I'm not going to say it. He didn't say it in this scene, but he said it before. I want to keep putting it in there, but I'll wait for best quotes.
Yeah.
He didn't care one bit about Conklin. And that's what makes it funny, because they really build this up and makes you think to the point where Conklin in the ring talking about Roper scared of me. It's trying to like, yo, even if he is, Let's keep it quiet, just in case we don't want to piss him off. Just in case we got a shot. He running around the crowd. He scared him. His trainer, he pulls a cigarette out and goes ahead and gets him ready for the ring. We get Method Man walking him out, and then we get to the actual fight, which is smartly. I love how the film did this. They know that this is a satire. This is a comedy. There's no point of us going multiple rounds and trying to get these good shots. We have one solid round, which a lot of those fights back then, think about Mike Tyson's comeback, fights ending in 13 seconds, everything else. What did you think about the fight itself and kind of the last scene, Chaz?
So I thought they did the fight itself justice. There was no reason for it, even though he's out of shape, even though he's not taking this serious. He's still heavyweight champion of the world. He's 38-0. This dude has never had a professional fight. It didn't make sense for him to be in there for 3-4 rounds. It made sense for him to knock out, you know what I'm saying, and end this Great White Hope shit. And I thought it was excellent the way they did it. I love the fact that Shabazz came into the ring again. You know what I'm saying? This guy is
once again for the third time.
Right.
And I feel Roper. Roper's like, hell, every time I have a moment, here come these motherfuckers, bro. We done with this. You gotta see me.
And it just goes to show you, but it's crazy that like even when they start officially fighting and stuff, and they're doing the swinging and shit like that, I would have liked to see like what happened next. Like after he knocks him out, if he knocks him out, all right, do they fight? Like if it would have been nice if it was a little post scene shit, like all right, they fought on this date or something like that.
Book, fuck a post scene. Great White Hype 2.
I could have been all of it. I could listen. I would have been down for that.
I want all of it, bro. I want that whole saga.
Yeah.
You gotta call it something else. You gotta call it something else. But a sequel to this film, I would have definitely watched that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it was just straight to video, I still would have watched it.
Straight to video. Jeff Goldblum ends up becoming he ends up being in Shabazz's corner because he got this little rivalry with the Sultan now. There's a new up and comer. Like they could have made something work. They could have made something work. They should have called us. They could have called us. Jamie Foxx had some great lines in that moment. You ain't my daddy. Are you? And just the whole ad lib of, if I can get this motherfucker out, my nerves bad. If I struggling to get the gun out, once again, pulling the strap out, and Roper just looking at that shit, punching that nigga, and them getting into it. And I love Samuel Jackson, Red Sultan's line. Don't give away what we can sell. Because 100% it. But once again, great marketing. I just seen the champ who's 38-0, now 39-0, just get dropped by the same dude that the champ just dropped. I'm definitely buying that fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely buying that fight. I'm trying to think. If you had seen before the Errol Spence and Bud fight, if they had got into a face-off at somebody else's fight and dropped, let's say, I forget who Bud fought in Dallas at one time and mopped. Either way, or not Bud, but Spence fought somebody in Dallas. If they had gotten into an altercation, one of them niggas got knocked out, whether it be Bud or Spence, I'm like, oh shit, I'm watching this. Really Bud, because Bud was the one that everybody was saying was the favorite. If Spence knocked out Bud in that moment, and they announced that fight like the next 2 weeks, it's going to do record numbers because people want to see what it's going to be like.
Absolutely.
So great marketing there. And obviously, just like real boxing, the promoters, the schemers, the most shiesty, they always end up on top. It ends with Sultan looking in the camera like, yeah, I you know what I mean? Telling people I love you. We're going to promote this fight, all of that. He doesn't take an L because he's in the control. No. He's got the power, and that's how boxing works. He doesn't have to put his body on the line, anything like that. I just thought it was a great way to end the movie. And I'm like you, if we don't get a sequel, I do want to know what happens between that fight. It's one of the greatest what ifs in sports history, in sports movie history.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
No, it definitely is.
So incredible, hilarious movie. Trust me and Chaz don't do it justice when we talk about the comedy in it. Classic 90s comedy, goofy ass movie. And if you love boxing, that's a bonus. I think this is one of those where you really have to have an appreciation for boxing to really appreciate this movie. I don't know how much the comedy will take you there if you don't like boxing, but I definitely still would recommend anybody to watch it.
I definitely agree with you on that. It's this movie. This is one of the movies. It's not for everybody, but if you watch it, if you take the time to watch it, and you even remotely like boxing just a little bit, it'll definitely be for you. Like it'll definitely be for you. That's why. That's
100%.
why I said it was a cult classic.
100%. No questions asked. Best quotes. I'll let you kick it off, Chaz. What you got on your best quotes list?
That we didn't already say. Yeah, when he's about to fight Conklin, he has like, "Am I that fat? Nah, you just a whole lot of man."
Incredible.
Oh man,
Incredible quote.
um,
He was genuinely asking, like, damn, am I really that fat? Cause we all been there with damn shit. I done let myself go, huh? Nah, champ, you just a whole lot of man.
One of the another quote I got from Roper. He's getting interviewed. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like they're having like this kind of 24/7 build up. And he says, "I'm about to donate." They're talking about the donations that he makes. He said, "I'm about to donate some money to remove my foot out your ass foundation."
Classic.
This one, I know you got it down on yours. I can beat Conklin and my meat at the same time.
100% got that down. Once again, wasn't barring Conklin at all. Like didn't have a care in the world about this nigga. He said that shit and he meant that shit.
They're at one of the press conferences, and he has to tell Roper. Sultan has to tell Roper, "Nigga, sit your motherfucking ass down. I'm trying to explain something." Because
if you haven't seen the movie, you're listening to this podcast. It is the delivery of this line by Samuel Jackson, because James Roper is pretty much getting antagonized, being baited into reacting to this. And Sultan is his man, and it's Sultan trying to sell a fight. So he's introducing Conklin on something that, yeah, man, he actually beat up James Conklin, knocked him out cold. And Roper, he said, knocked him out cold. And Roper gets up like, nigga, I was 17 back then. I whoop how do you do the ass? Nigga, sit your motherfucking ass down. I'm trying to explain something. Like it's when your nigga or your pops or some OG tells you and you know they mean it, like it's a natural, like, nigga, if you don't sit your motherfucking ass, like you fucking up the money. It was one of those quotes, man. Hilarious. I definitely had that written down.
those are the quotes I have.
All right, I got a few more.
Yeah.
The first scene, the brashness of James Roper. The reason why James Roper is so funny in this movie, because he's dead ass serious every time. Yeah. He's getting interviewed and he says, "I'm an artist out there. It's like I painted a beautiful picture of the Mona Lisa and I forgot to put the breast on." Sultan and Roper, after he doesn't get his payday, "I'm your brother. I got your brother hanging low." There's a moment, and this is just a shout out to one of Chaz's and myself's favorite movies. There's a moment where Rev Sultan looks at somebody with some long hair. He said, "Hey, Vincent, where's Jules, man?" Obviously a nod to Pulp Fiction. You know, he out here driving these Rolls Royces. I'm still in a Broham. A what? What's a Broham? It's maroon. We already talked about my daddy said, "Don't pull your shit out if you ain't ready to use it." Look, Titus, chill. Hold on, I'll say that. I'm surprised you didn't say our favorite quote. We still say it to this day. Jeff Goldblum.
You're woozy.
You're woozy.
I was gonna let you.
I can't tell y'all how many times throughout a week or a month that I'll just randomly, if I see some fried shit, I'm like, "You're woozy," and just shake that shit off. Shout out to Jeff Goldblum for that classic line. And then probably my favorite line of the movie is when I don't know if he's in the hot tub or the cold tub, but James Roper is ripping a cigarette again. And Titus, his trainer, comes up to him and says, "Hey, man, you got to start taking this serious." That nigga looked at him with a dead serious face. Said, "Titus, chill. My blackness will beat that kid."
I actually did have that one too.
My blackness will beat that kid is one of my favorite movie lines ever because he meant that shit.
Yeah.
And he was right. Nigga, I gained 20 pounds of fat and came in here and one round and dusted your shit. Stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with professional athletes, bro. They're not to be played with. Leave them alone. That's why I still always laugh when T.I. was trying to fight Floyd outside that fat burger, bro. What did you think was going to happen?
Hey, man. Listen.
You about to say surprise shit.
Did I ever tell you the time that our brother Sleazy was talking shit to fucking Rasheed Wallace?
No. Yes, I think so.
At the strip club?
Yeah, man. Sleaze. Hey, man, listen, the whole crew wild. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know what could be going on in niggas' heads.
Oh, my God.
Scene Stiller. You got Scene Stiller? It's an ensemble cast. So really anybody can like be a candidate. I say your favorite character, if not a Scene Stiller.
I'm gonna say Jamie Foxx and or Sally Richardson, because she didn't even have to say much. She just came in. But Jamie Foxx, he was only in for a few scenes, but when he came in, it was pure comedy every time.
Pure comedy every time. Jamie Foxx is a Scene Stiller. Like the definition of what this award is, like when he's on the screen, you pay attention to him, and that's saying something. Because it wasn't like Jamie Foxx, and he was on screen with some stars. If I had to go with one of the main characters, man, it's hard. I don't know. It's really hard to decide between Samuel, Jeff Goldblum, and Damon Wayans. Like I enjoyed all three of their performances, and they all played them to the T. Jeff Goldblum was one of my favorites of this movie, though. I ain't gonna hold you, but I'm giving it to Samuel because he was on so much trash this entire movie. Like he was chasing niggas with fucking knives, machetes. Like, he was really punking niggas.
Yeah.
Yeah, the president of the the fake WBC, ranking people in his top 10 because I said so. Shit was wild, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be my Scene Stealer. Come See About Me. There wasn't anything there. Any actors from The Wire? No. Anything that bothers you?
Not getting a sequel.
Not getting a sequel. The wig that Samuel L. Jackson had on, it really didn't bother me. I just had to mention it.
Nah, it didn't bother me. It was just hilarious.
It was just hilarious. Yeah, it didn't bother me. It was just fried. I mentioned that you ain't gonna keep pulling these guns out. You're not gonna pull 3 guns out on me and nothing happens to you. I'm just sorry. That's just not gonna happen. And then those weak ass $2 and $5 bets on Terry Conklin. Like running up to the gate betting $5. Like, man, put your money up. If you're that confident, put your bread up.
The odds were probably so crazy.
You know what? Let's talk about that. What do you think the odds were for that fight? How heavy of a favorite was Roker?
Probably 10,000 to 1, 15,000 to 1, something like that.
See, I wouldn't even go in that high. I was gonna say like 1,100.
No.
I think by the time it probably opened at that, but by the time the fight started, the hype built up, and they saw this nigga knock out Chaz.
It probably got down to like maybe
Conklin might have been like a plus 900 by the time the fight actually started.
I was gonna say probably a plus 1,500, but
because Vegas isn't gonna risk even though they probably knew, Vegas isn't gonna risk the possibility, as we say, all it takes is one punch.
Yeah.
Plus 15,000 would have been a crazy risk for them, especially with all the bets they had coming in. And if you know anything about sports betting, the more money comes in on one fighter, the lower the odds gets for them. So I think by the time, yes, it probably started that way, Chaz. There was probably a moment. There were some people in Vegas that said, "Shit, I got this shit when it opened up at plus 10,000 or plus 9,000." By the time the fight happened, it probably got all the way down. I can't say anything less than plus 950. Like that's way too disrespectful.
This motherfucker never had a fight before, bro.
But they built on the fact that he knocked him out 10 years ago. That shit wild, man. That shit wild. I would have loved to see. I wish they would have talked about that in the film. I wish they would have told us what the odds were.
I definitely wish that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for things that bother me. Trivia, just a couple things. So they had an interview when Jeff Goldblum, Mitchell Kane, when he was interviewing Shabazz in front of the MGM, you see that lion head entrance? That's no longer there. I want to say this the right way. The Chinese culture has a heavy influence of Vegas.
Down for that, right?
Yeah, they took it down for that. I was trying to explain. So the Chinese culture, that they're I don't want to say big gamblers like a bad thing, but they're high rollers. Like a lot of the high roller suites and stuff. If you go to Vegas, in these very nice hotels, a lot of the suites and stuff, they spend a lot of money in these casinos. It's been portrayed in like Ocean's 11, all types of movies that involve gambling. They'll talk about it, right? Even Focus had that, or the idea of gambling. There's also a lot of like tradition and beliefs about bad luck, good luck, all that kind of good thing. And walking into the lion's head was one of the mouth of the lion was the bad luck. And MGM realized like a large part of our big high roller business they're coming through the back door, or they're not coming at all because this is bad luck in their culture. And they actually took that lion head down so they can get more business. Oh, I thought that was an interesting piece of trivia. And also we mentioned about the John Wayne's cousin. Tommy Morrison was really John Wayne's grand nephew. Chaz, we get to the part of the film where we rate the movie. The average viewer rates The Great White Hype a 5.5 out of 10. Too high, too low, just right.
Way too low.
Where you going?
7.2.
That's literally the number I had in my head. 7.2. Going 7.2. I think it definitely deserves it. It's a comedy. It is something that I can put on. Perfect background movie. Like if you're doing other things and trying to get something done, but need something on TV in the back, Great White Hype is it's made for that. But also a very enjoyable watch. Rose, bouquet, or the whole damn garden?
Whole damn garden.
Whole damn garden easy. Whole damn garden easy. I can watch this anytime. I'll never get tired of it. As I mentioned, it's about to be 30 years old next year, and it still holds up. All-star cast, everything about it. And that's pretty much it. So, Bud, appreciate you joining me this week, brother.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Absolutely,
You're my
man.
brother. I love you.
I love you. You're my brother. Shout out to We Got Y'all Television Podcast. Shout out to Another Week in the Books. Shout out to what Chaz was on last week, man. We had a great conversation 2 weeks ago. Our last episode had a great conversation about grief. So please check that out as well. Also, please be sure to like, subscribe, share. Shout out to Ray P. Shout out to School. We'll be back next week with a new episode. And most importantly, shout out to all y'all. Y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. You ain't gonna say peace?
I was just about to, Nick. Peace, y'all.
We out, man. Appreciate y'all.